Post-practice press conference, joined now by our fastest driver of the day, Graham Rahal, driving the number 15 United Rentals Honda for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing this month here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Graham, fastest in practice today. What are you guys noticing that's found this speed and led to these high finishes in practice thus far?
Well, I mean, today was definitely, a better day for sure. And, from the get-go, I knew that yesterday we didn't put in any effort to actually put in a decent lap. And, I found myself all day yesterday just in the middle of the pack, and it's impossible to put up a number from that position. And then, clearly everybody starts questioning and worried and this and that. And so, there was a lot of reason and motivation to, go and try to put together a decent one today. But, it was obviously our second lap. I went out. I was trying to do a qualifying simulation, and I just went out, and a bunch of guys came out. Well, one guy, Steph Wilson, came out in front of me. He was at the end of the back straight as I was going in out of two, and I thought, you know what, for once I'm just going to do this and just stay in it. And it's not, normally my MO, but I just thought might as well put a good one up there and at least lower my dad's blood pressure for the night, and and Lanigan and everybody. So, it was a solid run. We tried another qual sim. Every qual sim I did today, somebody came out in front of me. So I honestly, I didn't get a qual sim today. I didn't get a single one. So hopefully Mother Nature will be nice to us tomorrow. The good thing about that is we didn't use very many tires today, and a lot of other guys did. So we should be pretty, tire rich tomorrow if we need to go after it, and we'll see how it goes.
I know it's just practice, and leading practice doesn't really mean too much as you look ahead towards qualifying, but is it cooler to lead practice here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
It's cooler to lead practice than be 34th, because you just don't have to answer all the questions about why you're 34th and all that sort of thing. But it's for sure today was in the end a very good day. We had the car, we showed that it had the pace, number one. And number two, at the end of the day, we found and made some big strides with our race car. So that's more what I was focused on. But that last run there was by far the best I have felt. And obviously there's a lot of cars out there. There's a bunch of people. And it was by far the best that I have felt in traffic to this point. Felt a lot stronger than a certain, a good amount of guys that I was around. Still hard to pass when you're, 20th and 15th in line. I mean, this car, it's very disruptive back there, but, the last car was too, and I think it's going to go out there and race, just fine. But today was definitely a good day for us overall, just to make a huge step forward, in a lot of phases of it. So, we can all rest a little bit easier, for tomorrow. We've been scratching our heads like crazy. Everybody's been nervous. Everybody's been, trying 100 different things. And I have to say, Takuma and Oriole have been, extremely influential and beneficial to our program. And it's great to have three guys that have so much experience around this place. And I can guarantee you that come Monday, we'll be much better off from a racing perspective than where we are even today.
Questions, Robin?
Graham, do you think whenever everybody's out pounding around 19-car drafts and everything, the best thing is that's the only way you're going to learn how the car is going to handle on race day? And talking to Pagenaud and Kanaan, they said first, second, third, fourth, you get a really good, you can draft pretty good, but beyond that, it's going to be really tough. Did you experience that?
I think first and second is awesome. Anything beyond that is tough. It's tough, and you see that. With JR's incident. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was going to be in that scenario today where, the right front tire is so overworked, and you have so much slip angle in it, and it just gives up. And when it gives up, it's, I literally just explained it on Wish TV, like, it's like, ice and then bang, you hit a curb, you turn into a neighborhood and it doesn't turn, and then boom, and we've all done it, and that's exactly what it feels like. And so it's difficult because you don't know what that fine line is. Sometimes it slides, and okay. And other times it just never comes back. I just think the further back you are, you got to hang on. I mean, these cars, you got to drive the you-know-what out of. I mean, the rear's sliding around, the front's pushing. It's not pretty, that's for sure. But, you know, the one thing it does do is if you do get a tow, it is massive. You know, I mean, when you get 10 car lengths back, the acceleration rate is unbelievable. So, you know, Takuma and I were even joking about it. You know, do you want to lead the last lap or do you not? You know, where do you place yourself if you're in that position in the race? Because I don't know. I mean, if you're leading, you could be in trouble. So we'll see. But you know, we'll all make strides by Monday. I can guarantee you that.
Elton.
Kind of along the same lines. Just how much of this is new car? How much of this is what are you feeling that's felt before, and what are you feeling that's new?
Oh, I mean, a lot of it's new car. You know, a lot of it is trying to understand the way that it wiggles, you know, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's true, you know. We're used to the old car. You know what it's going to do. You know what to expect. This car is a different animal. Fortunately, with this car, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx myself, but when it does tend to go, the front is what gives up. And that's a much better feeling than the rear. In the old car, the rear would tend to go. And so this is definitely, you know, better off. But for sure, understanding the front wing, you know, what angle does it actually work at? What angle does it stall at? How do the end fences work? All of this stuff is so new. Just to try to make it work is a bit of a chore.
Tim.
Yeah, Graham. So put us in your mind or your shoes when you leave here the last 2 nights and then tonight. Are your nerves kind of frayed from chasing this? I mean, explain it to people who've never sat in your seat.
Well, it's been late nights. It's been long days here. You know, I don't think I've left here, gosh, earlier than, you know, 8:45, 9 o'clock the last couple nights. And that's pretty unusual. You know, normally when the practice day's done, you do your debrief and go home and get yourself, you know, dinner. But, you know, we've spent a lot of time poring over data, trying to understand this thing a lot better. And, you know, tonight I'm going to sleep a lot easier than I did last night, other than the fact that Kathy planned an 8 a.m. press conference. So you guys all better be here, because if I have to be here at 8 a.m., you guys need to be here too. So, but it's been long days, you know, and yeah, for sure last night everybody's a little bit on edge.
Is there a bounce in your step, though, having your number at the top of the pylon? I mean, what does that
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, it always feels good, right? I mean, yeah, it feels good. There's no doubt about it, because in particular, that's not really my expertise. You know, going out there and sitting in a big tow has never been my thing, you know, and so I've never been the guy to put up huge numbers here. But when you do, yes, it feels nice.
George.
Graham, I think 227's been like the highest. What do you think it's going to take to sit on the pole on Sunday?
Well, with the high boost, you're obviously going to go quicker, right? But I think it's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be 28, 29, somewhere in there. And I could be off on that. It could be less. You know, the reason for that, this car is a lot draggier than last year's car. There's a common misconception that this car has less downforce and less drag. It doesn't. Here, this is the only package. The Speedway package is draggier than the Honda package from last year. Both packages from last year. And so due to that, that's what kills the speed. I mean, when we're talking about more drag, we're talking like 60 pounds, which is 6 miles an hour, 10 pounds a mile an hour. So 6 miles an hour. So really, the only way that you make up for that is horsepower nowadays. And so, you know, we've all been obviously reaching for the stars today. Saw some guys do 223s, like Will, I think, was the only guy I saw do a 23 no-toe. And saw some other guys try, and they'd get close for a lap, and the next thing you know, they were in the pits. So, you know, it could be pretty interesting here for sure. I do see there's going to be a lot of people very close together. I mean, I think, you know, from one end to the other end of 1 mile an hour could make, you know, 15 positions, which has never happened at this place.
Mary.
I don't know if you've had a chance to do like a full stint on the fuel. I was just wondering how the car behaves. Is it like last year's car when it lightens up weight-wise, or does it behave differently?
Yeah, it's really just about, like I said, managing the right front tire. I think, you know, if you're too hard on that right front tire and it starts to degrade, you're in trouble. You know, as the run goes on, it just gives up and gives up and gives up. But, you know, to be honest with you, that last run that we just did was by far the best that we have done. And by the end of the run, I actually felt pretty strong compared to those I was around. But it's definitely, it's a handful. You know, it's not going to be but even if you watch last year's race, the key's got to be, you know, always is to make your car good at the end of the stints. You know, because there are guys that can go fast, but you got to make it last. And that's kind of where our head is at right now, just trying to make it a little bit more consistent throughout.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Graham, with the work that you guys are doing this week, would you say it's safe between you and Takuma and Oriole that you're focusing maybe more on the race setup more so than Saturday's setup?
Yeah, I would say yes, that's been the case, because I went out and did a qual sim, our very first run of the whole week on Tuesday morning, and did a mid 221. I'm completely clear on my own, and at the time that was the quickest no-toe of the day, or ended up second behind Ed or something. But we really did that without much effort. Yeah, and yesterday I went out with the same setup, and it repeated pretty well. And today, this morning, my quick lap was the exact same setup, and it repeated pretty well as far as balance. So we haven't really been overly concerned about the qualifying. Doesn't mean we're going to be on pole. I mean, we should be decent, but I don't know that you know, some of the speeds I saw today, you know, the 23.3 by Power, did 4 laps in a row. That's, I mean, I feel like from what I saw of his teammates, he's a mile an hour and a half, maybe 2 miles an hour clear of some of his teammates. So that's, you know, he's kind of extreme. I don't know that we have that, but we should be decent. And so we haven't really been overly panicked about that. Having said that, if you can start up front in this race and you can stay up front in this race, it is going to make your life a lot easier. There's no doubt.
David?
Graham, with the increased drag from this car, has that had a bad effect on fuel consumption, and will we expect to see a big variation in stint length?
You know, I wouldn't expect a big variation, to be honest with you. I cannot tell you that I've focused a lot on it, but you know, I from what I hear from the guys, no, you know, it should be pretty similar. I mean, Honda's done a heck of a job, you know, with fuel consumption and stuff for us. You know, making more power and using less fuel. So, you know, hopefully that will be the case here as well. But I have not really dialed into that just yet.
Any other questions for Graham? Oh, sorry, yes.
Your finishes here over your career at the 500 have ranged anywhere from 3rd to 33rd. What is it about this track that it just makes it such a hard race for you?
Well, we've actually been, I think in a lot of times, been better than that's reflected. You know, even going back to my rookie year, we were pretty decent, made a rookie mistake. My second year, honestly, I think I had the car to win the thing, and it's bothered me ever since. But, you know, again, made a stupid mistake earlier in the race. And that's when that's kind of when the light bulb went off. But, you know, when I came back here in 2010, we had a decent run. Got a little bit unlucky with the late yellow. I think it was Conway. You know, because a lot of guys weren't going to make it that did then, and so it did change the end result quite a lot. 2011 was obviously a good year, you know, but we've been, and in 2012 we had a high fuel pressure pump go out, so we were down horsepower the whole second half of the race, and actually still ran the top 5 most of the day. We just didn't have that much power. So at the end of the day, this place is challenging, and you know what I've been reminded of so many times in my life, and the stat could be a little bit off, but is that, and Robin might know this, but Johnny Rutherford didn't finish an Indy 500 till he won it. And so there's guys that have achieved greatness here that it took a little while. And yes, this is my 11th, but I'm 29. I think you'll see me, I hope you'll see me here a lot more. So, you know, I love this place. It's gotten me over the years, but we've, this year in particular, you know, we're more focused as a team, more driven as an individual, and you know, I hope that we can. Last year slipped for me. I mean, I know Takuma was probably gonna be hard to beat, but we were actually ahead of Takuma at the time, and the only 2 cars ahead of us were off sequence, and we got a flat tire with 35 to go, put us a lap down. You know, there's nothing you can. it's just bad luck. I mean, and that happens. And I felt that last year we had a great car. And so that one's bothered me. And, you know, hopefully this year we can bounce back. But, yeah, it's been all over the board here for me. There's certain places that I really don't enjoy racing at that much, and I've always had great results. And I never understood that either. You know, it's just the way the story gets written. And hopefully, as I say, you know, someday I hope, you know, in the story of this place I'll have my own chapter. But, you know, it hasn't been done yet.
You mentioned Takuma, does having him on your team now, have you talked to him about that at all? Or talked to him about, you know, how long it took him to get there and your fight to get there too? No, you know, I mean, Takuma's, you know, he's definitely the right guy for this place. You know, he's quick, he's aggressive, and you know, I think it takes that to win around here. Sometimes you got to make the right move at the right time. And last year, you know, he put the whole combination together. I think he had the fastest, flat out, you know, just the fastest car during the race, but he put all the pieces together. And you know, it's awesome to see, and every time you mention it to him, it's just a huge smile on his face, and, you know, that's cool. And, you know, I was very, very happy for Takuma last year. He's a great guy, and, you know, hopefully we can work together with Oriole and everybody and just make this thing even better for us.
Graham, we've spoken in some of the previous races this year with this new aero kit that instead of 2018 being an outright engine manufacturer war, maybe hitting the setup one day to the next might be the real key to victory, or at least success. Have you gotten a feel yet in super speedway trim whether that still might be the case come qualifying of the race, or you think one manufacturer is already peeking out a little bit?
I think one, you know, I thought that yesterday, had you asked me, I would have said that one manufacturer I thought was just flat out had a little more qualifying pace. And today it actually kind of neutralized a little bit. So there's no doubt that, you know, you got to work on all the little things. You got to get the scrub down. You got to get, you know, all this little stuff. And if you can get all the pieces of the puzzle together, I think any manufacturer can put a good number to, you know, on the board. We'll see how it goes. It's definitely going to be important just to hit it, particularly on race day, because I can tell you, like, when you go to race trim, people are all over the board. I mean, it's pretty crazy out there, so we'll see.
Any final questions for Graham? Graham, thank you very much.
Thank you.